Yeah, hi there. These comments are for FX. I'm just using your initials for privacy purposes, and I am Michael, the founder, owner, and the materials writer for all of your lessons at the 7-step system to pass the TOEFL IBT. And you completed an independent writing practice test number 38. So you started the test last night at 10:35. You finished it at 12:09 a.m., about midnight. You took 1 hour and 33 minutes to finish this writing practice test. Now I got good and bad news. The good news is you have a pretty clear organization of ideas, but you have a lot of language use issues with your writing. That means a lot of vocabulary and a lot of grammar problems. It even interferes in your ability to fully express your idea. So let's take a look at what I'm talking about here. So let's start with the first paragraph. So I'm going to say depending here in my opinion. Famous athletes and entertainers should gain high salaries. We only watch their appearance looking like the bright stars in the sky, but we cannot. You have image. You want to say imagine is the better word. But we cannot imagine how much I'm going to say here, sacrifice you have faous. I think you want to say they need to be so they need to keep famous by practicing skills, staying slim, and facing the media, which is why I think they are worth the money they get. So I would probably say that. See, first of all, to keep their skills, I want to say here, at a high level, they have to train every day. Instead of they, I'm going to say these athletes. It's a little bit awkward to use a pronoun in your topic sentence. It's probably better to be a little more specific. So these athletes have to train every day. For example, Kobe Bryant, an NBA star, NBA Lakers star shot I'm going to say shoots I'm going to say here about 10,000 baskets a day. That's probably the better way to say that. Instead of saying this, just say, make it a little bit less wordy, which is why he can I'm going to say here, score an average of 30 points a game. This kind of throws it off here. You have, which is why he can score an average of 30 points a game. Then you have, and carry the team, so you kind of have present and past together there. Maybe say this. In fact, Bryant carried his team to win the 2009, 2010 championship. Since his so you might say thus, since his basketball skills are high level, he deserves $40 million a year. Then you have, secondly, some entertainers, you say, especially females, need to constantly diet in order to maintain their... See, this is what you couldn't say. These are vocabulary limitations. So in order to maintain their slim figures, this is what you want to say. You had this in your mind, but you couldn't actually say it. So secondly, some entertainers, especially females, need to constantly diet in order to maintain their slim figures. Thus, they cannot eat too much or too orally. I don't think that works either. They cannot, I'm going to say, overeat. You can probably say this. If they become fat, how about, give me a little bit better, how about if these, so you use a lot of pronouns. Pronouns are okay, but you're trying to show here that you have pretty good vocabulary. If you overuse pronouns, it limits your vocabulary a little bit. You already said they before, right? So you're trying to show you have good choice of words here. If these celebrities become fat, people will not like them. And they will hide in cold storage when nobody cares for them. See this? I don't exactly know what you're trying to say here. This is a major problem because you're not able to communicate. I can only guess as to what you're trying to say. So you might say, how about pudgy entertainers will have to hide from the media and then they will lose the fan base they once had. Then you give the example. So furthermore, these pudgy entertainers, and pudgy is a polite word for fat, these pudgy entertainers will have to hide from the media. And then they will lose the fan base they once had. For example, Li Shan, a famous host, I'm going to say for a famous host for the Hunan TV station in China became fat after she gave birth. Thus, she had to give up her job. Okay, I'm going to stop at this point. So what I did is I went through these different paragraphs, at least the first 3 paragraphs. I made some changes showing you how you can improve your word choice and your sentence structure so that you can improve your writing. And that's really where you need the most improvement right now. You know how to structure your ideas. You know how to give examples to support those ideas. You're just simply having a lot of language use issues. Okay, your score here. Let's take a look at the rubrics. Okay, so I think here, I'm going to put you in the 2 range. There's 2 problems here. A large number of errors in sentence structure and or usage. Numerous problems with inappropriate word choice or word forms. So I'm going to put you at about 2.25 out of 5. 15 points out of 30 on this particular practice test. So what you want to do is you got your work ahead of you right now. I'm going to be honest with you. You just don't have the language to write proficiently. That's not easy to solve. That means you have to build your vocabulary more. You have to improve your grammar more, and that's going to take time. Luckily, my website has everything you need, so I'm going to give you some suggestions. Some things that you can do that can definitely help you improve your language use area. First of all, you may want to go onto the internet with me. Go to the grammar part of my course for just a second. I think this is going to be important for you. You have so many different problems here. I would just say first, take my grammar diagnostic pretest first, and then that will tell you which areas in the grammar part of my course you just study the most, and then you can work in those areas. That's my first suggestion. Now my second suggestion is vocabulary. So I'm going to vocabulary right now, step number 1, the first section of my course, and here are my recommendations right now. Remember that you just don't have the words. You don't know how to use vocabulary to help explain your ideas, so you're using very basic vocabulary, or you're not using the right words in the right situations. That means you have to improve your vocabulary. You can do this first by going to vocabulary lesson number 3. This will give you a good list of about 200 basic words, but that's not going to be enough. You got so many issues here. I'm also recommending lesson number 4. This is another vocabulary list. Then lesson 5, more vocabulary, and then lesson 6, vocabulary again. So this is, if you can solve your vocabulary and your grammar issues, you will be able to improve your writing. Now your timeline here, so you don't stretch yourself out too much, you're looking at about 3 months. If you work hard for about 3 months studying vocabulary and grammar in those 2 areas of my course, you will be able to make some improvements, but just remember it takes time. Okay, so you have 2.25 out of 5. You have 15 points out of 30. Now, for the purposes of our class, a 2.25, this is going to put you at 67% on this writing midterm exam.